What's going on? It's me, Shamar Lebrito. I'm back on the YouTube channel again. We're talking about color grading. Now, as you guys know, I do have other videos speaking about how to edit on Premiere Pro. And I recently got a comment, asking, how to color grade my videos. I think it was the previous video of, well, how can I not recall? How to vlog. There we go. How to vlog in 2024. And I know this was a topic that I've always wanted to talk about as well. Before we even get started, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Every single piece of engagement towards this channel is very much appreciated and it's welcomed. So if you guys enjoy these videos or you guys like seeing my face on a regular basis, subscribe, as we're posting more content every single time on the channel. So now for this tutorial, it's going to be super quick, just because there's not a lot of steps in terms of color grading for me, at least. When it comes to color grading, I want to get more advanced in it, but I'm still somewhat new. I'm not really new at it, but I'm like, it's not really my forte. But I do want to show you guys some basics so that if you're a new YouTube creator or you're somebody that you may be doing this for years, but you want your videos to kind of pop a little bit more or just show more color, it's definitely a step in the right direction. So I'm glad to show you guys my basics on how I color grade. Now, before any color grading, before we even jump into the laptop, I think the most important thing, and it's very critical, is for your camera settings to be in log form. I'm shooting in a 7D Mark II from Canon, which unfortunately doesn't have the log feature, but I was able to tweak it to where I can shoot it in log, or log-like. A lot of that is just going to your picture style and creating a form that takes down the saturation and takes down the contrast, I believe. So if your camera does not shoot in log form, you can do that. But if your camera does shoot in log, I would advise to shoot in log so that your color grading comes out a lot better. Reason being, if picture styles is already on your camera, chances are your color grading is already done for you. Kind of want a blank canvas so that you can kind of paint your picture, opposed to picture styles being on and it's already painted for you and you really can't do much with it. So before you even color grade any piece of footage, make sure you're shooting in log, make sure your color tones is off. You're seeing in the video now of it being color graded, but I'll show you in a few seconds of it not being shot in color, so you can kind of see how dull it is and how blank it is, so that when I do eventually jump into color grading, it comes out with some color. But once you got that done and once you have your footage, let's jump into the laptop and I'll show you guys a quick and effective way to shoot or to color grade your footage. All right, guys, so we are in my laptop right now teaching you guys how to color grade. So I have pieces of footage here that has no color, even though you can kind of tell that there's color there. Let's drag it into the timeline. I'm not gonna go into like the full edit just because again, this is gonna be like super quick. But first thing I do before anything in terms of color grading is to have two adjustment layers. So you want to click this bottom note where it says new item in your import file and click adjustment layer. Press OK, because more than likely it's already adjusted to your footage. So mine's is 1920 by 1080 or 1080p footage, but if you have 4K footage, it'll automatically adjust to that. So I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to make another one, adjustment layer again. So now I have two. I'm just going to name the first one color correction and the other one grade. Now the reason why I named both, a lot of times I use both. The color correction is pretty much like the initial color, so you want to change your exposure if you have to. Just make the basic colors. I'm in a wrong workspace as well, so we're just going to change it to color. You want to do a basic correction first with these color grades. You never want to color on the footage, because a lot of times if you make mistakes or if you want to change certain aspects without messing something up in the other part, this is why adjustment layers are essential. First step, I'm going to go into my Lumetri color panel on the right hand side and click under basic correction. This is where I can change the temperature, tint, saturation, exposure, contrast, etc. These are things that you turned off on your camera when you turn the picture style off and just put it on a neutral slide, or you put it in log form. And I'm just going to kind of eye it and just work on my exposure. Now, a lot of people use the Lumetri scopes, pretty much telling them, white balance, if there's colors that's too much, because a lot of times your eyes can look good, but then when you post it on YouTube, it kind of looks bad. So this is a great tool as well to kind of tell you if your whites is overly exposed, if you're underly exposed, if your blacks is too much or it's too little. So I'm just going to kind of raise my exposure, but you see as I move the slides on the left hand side, those bump up as well. So if that white one is way too high, you're overexposed. So I'm just going to leave it kind of right here And the better your camera settings is, the easier it is to color grade. So if you have bad camera settings, chances are you're going to be doing this for a lot more. But again, I'm just going to eye everything and just kind of do it to my liking. There is no right or wrong way in terms of color grading, because it's kind of just how you prefer your footage to look. I'm just going to eye these and just kind of play with the tools until I get it to where I like, just to kind of make it look normal without a LUT. So a LUT is kind of like a filter that goes on top of your footage. So right now I'm just kind of, you know, touching up on the basics so that everything is exposed correctly. My skin looks fine, so that when I put the color grade on, it just enhances what's already there. Right now this looks okay to me. Let's bump up the saturation just a tad bit. All right, so this is what it looks like before color correcting, then after. All right, so now I'm gonna go to my grade adjustment layer, and I know it's like kind of smushed down below, but this is just to kind of give you guys a bigger window of what it looks like when I'm doing it. But essentially, you know, if you need to, you know, you can move that up just to kind of see which layer you're on. So I know I'm on grade, so I'm fine. So I can push this back down so I can get a bigger view of myself to kind of see my color grading before. And just a side tip too, I also do color grading before anything else. So any sound effects, any audio, or just cutting any footage, I do color grading first, because color grading usually takes up the most time in terms of editing. Placing sound effects and cutting out fluff and syncing up audio, you know, is kind of easier for me. So now I'm gonna leave a link down below for the LUT that I prefer. I had just downloaded it from this YouTuber. Yeah, so this is the LUT I prefer to use. I use it a lot in all of my footage, especially the one that I just posted recently. But you can tell that, you know, when you first get it and they put it at 100, it's like way too much. Skin looks mad orange. The footage just doesn't look right. And a lot of times that's what LUTs do. So you kind of want to turn down that intensity in the creative panel. So I usually leave it anywhere from like 30 to maybe 50. And then depending on how that footage looks, you can kind of go back to your basic correction. So we're just going to go back to that panel and kind of do just further, you know, tweaking of it. If exposure is not right, probably like turn this contrast down a little bit, bump up the highlights just a tad bit. Let's work on the shot. Right here I'm kind of wearing a black shirt, so you know it might be a little bit easier, but we don't want it to look kind of washed, so bump down the shadows a little bit, you know. And these are the two panels I work with the most, just to kind of tweak, just because for performance on my laptop purposes it can't really handle too much. But then also too, this is really the only tools that you kind of really need, unless you have to do like extreme, you know, color correcting. Sometimes I use the curves as well, like say for example, if there's a certain color in my footage that I want to kind of pop out more, I'll kind of use this tool, like say for my skin, if I want it to look a little bit more cleaner, or I just want that color to pop out more, it'll work just specifically on that color. So say my skin tone is a little too orange, we can take that down. I can also work on the blue part of the shirt and kind of just play with it to maybe make that color pop out more. Or say for example, this yellow in the pillow, I kind of want it to, you know, do a little bit more. We can also play with that as well. So I use the curves not too much, but I do use it in certain instances where if I use a LUT and the colors is just not popping out for me, or my skin tone is too dull or it's too much and I have the saturation on low, then I can kind of tweak those colors. So, and then lastly, again, just keep playing with the basic corrections. I think this is going to be the tool that you use the most, just because, you know, you want to get those right while also having that LUT looking as crispy as possible. Just keep playing around with it. This is something I've had to learn for years, even watching, you know, thousands of videos and realizing that I'm still not good at color grading. But the more you play with it, or the more practice you have, the better you become. So I'll show you guys kind of the before. This is like a basic edit. It's not entirely finished, but this is just to kind of give you guys a basic understanding of color grading. But this is the before. Let's just turn everything off. So this was my footage before. Here's what it is after. Not the greatest, but it's still better than nothing. And that was it from me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys learned a lot. Remember that all color gradings, and pretty much the one I use now, I'll leave it in the link down below so you can check out their video and get their luck pack so that you can apply it to your videos. But I hope that you got a lot of information from this video, and I hope to see your color grading techniques so that your videos look a lot more crispier. But until the next video, guys, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Again, it's much appreciated to this channel. Every single like, comment, and subscription is noticed and heard and loved. So if you have it in your heart and you really like this content, think about subscribing and liking this video. But until next time, guys, I will see you in the next one.